We up and I'm feeling like a new me. Stacking new sets, some new E. NFTs, all of them unique. Back in my zone like 2-3. All time high, hit a new peak. Let's go. Homie, the Bulls is back. I said the Bulls is back.
GM, welcome back to the channel. Now in this one, we're taking a look at some of the narratives catching my eye right now. Plus we've got the latest updates over this kind of 12-hour period, the last 12 hours in crypto. So a real update video of what is going on here and now in the market. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and we'll jump on in. So we'll start off first here with Bitcoin, of course, the daddy, the metronome for crypto markets. And you can see we've had these levels, 56K to the downside, 60K to the upside, marked out for quite some time, saying, look, bull bear pivots, closures above or below are going to be very significant here. And it looks like, touch wood, as the saying goes, Bitcoin's on the precipice of closing above 60K, which it can do later today. So we don't want to tempt fate too much. Traditional markets are about to open. So if there's going to be some rug action, it could take place. But at 60,800 right now, and the kind of momentum shift we're seeing, it does seem a little bit good here. So that means we are grinding our way up out of this range currently. Now that is buffered by the fact the DXY has dumped significant here down to 101. So key level at about 100. And you can see this kind of in here, breaks below, and we're going to be talking about 2-3-4% drops even further, which will be supportive of risk assets. Now I do want to pull up traditional markets, which are just opening right about now. They've been up for like 10 days in a row or something, which has been good. And we've also seen M2 money supply continue to grind up here on the daily as well. Whether or not they're going to have a pullback here and how Bitcoin reacts to that, I'm not too sure, but it has felt for the longest time like a catch-up trade was due for Bitcoin. When you see the TradFi markets just continuing to push up and up and up, the DXY just continuing to break down further and further, it would make sense that we do get a bigger rally than just a bit of relief here for BTC. CryptoISO had posted this just earlier, so just going to pull up his charts from his Twitter page here. So this is the liquidation heat map on Bitcoin. So as you can see, this is the historic data, and you can see when you have these brighter, bigger boxes, these kind of pockets of liquidity that could be hit. So these were going to be longs that would get liquidated if price comes down. And you can see that the history here shows you that we've been coming and hunting for these pockets of liquidity. Now this is the chart on the monthly time frame, and he's saying, look, most liquidity pockets here are to go and take shorts out of the game here with movements up into these levels. So he's saying the path of least resistance from a liquidation standpoint would be now to go up, as we have been playing out to the downside, taking out the longs. So maybe it's time for shorts to get rinsed. And so you would expect, if that is to play out, obviously Bitcoin moves to the upside. So just a plus point for the bullish case. Now we're also seeing a lot of pressure here mount on Jerome Powell. They've just revised down the labor statistics, so there weren't as many jobs as previously stated. So the labor market is weakening. And now it's expected that Powell will give us a major hint tomorrow about a Fed rate cut. Dual mandate, inflation on the one hand, employment on the other, and what we're seeing is employment has weakened significantly here. So the markets are kind of poised that if tomorrow he does what we think he will and confirm that the rate cuts are coming, again, supportive of our assets. Then we have Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, actually doing a bull post for once, quite literally using memes here. So a picture of a bull with a sign around its neck saying that Ethereum is good. So he says, I need to be less philosophical and do more ETH bull posting. Hence, here is an Ethereum bull post, quite literally. So pretty good sense of humor from Mr. Buterin. And ETH not looking great, but maybe that will be a significant point on the chart here. Bolster that point with this 40,000 ETH transferred from Coinbase to someone's wallet. So 100 mil has been purchased by someone there. Now, are memes deads? Seemingly not all of them, although we have a growing mass graveyard over on Tron right now. This kind of milkshake theory, the meme milkshake theory that I think Agony Beards and Dan BLOCMATES have been talking about on Twitter. Essentially, there was too many memes, oversaturation, but the leaders would soak up the liquidity as the really small caps died off. And you kind of need to be on major exchanges now to have exposure to wider markets, because with too much saturation on chain, it's very hard to have growth. Now, Popcat has just been listed on Binance for perps. So perps first and then spot likely to come after. And we have Popcat putting in a big move here, huge candle. Likewise, we have WIF making its way up slowly but surely here, also at 162 today. And we've got MOG showing some life here as well. So the kind of big boys, MOG, Popcat, WIF, Pepe, seem to be the chosen ones. And if the milkshake theory does play out, you have a bit of a black hole suck liquidity for those. A couple of them on Sol, a couple of them on ETH. You could see the majority of meme dominance get focused in on those tokens. Now, just a quick piece on a narrative that I'm looking at and quite interested in. I've got a video coming out on the BLOCMATES channel on this. Bitcoin sidechains, Bitcoin layer 1s, Bitcoin layer 2s. The one I've been doing a deep dive research on is Core. They have a TVL of 300 mil, the second highest TVL of all the Bitcoin sidechains. I've previously done a research report on Rootstock during last cycle. And I've also done a video on Stacks, I believe, on my channel as well. And these ones are seemingly getting a bit blown out here. I mean, when we look at TVL, I would kind of write anything off below bounce bit here, and you have like this leading 6, leading 7. But Core here are doing a lot. They have more protocols than are listed on DeFi Llama. They have a lot of integrations with big names in the industry. Animoca Brands runs one of their validators. They've got layer 0 integration for their EVM chain. And they have this hybrid consensus method where they have the best of both worlds. They have delegated proof of work to include Bitcoin miners. So Bitcoin miners can essentially merge mine, in a sense, not only Bitcoin, but also the Core token as well, Core DAO. Core is the ticker. And on the flip side, we have delegated proof of stake. So you can actually stake Core tokens as part of the consensus method here. And you have the best of both worlds, proof of work and proof of stake. They essentially are bringing together the best of ETH and BTC. So security of Bitcoin, scalability, and smart contracts from ETH side. And they even added the ability to stake Bitcoin directly from Bitcoin's layer 1, non-custodially, which is really important, and earn Core rewards. So they're doing some really interesting things here. And I think generally when Bitcoin eventually can break out and we go into price discovery, what we saw when Bitcoin went into its first like major price discovery at the start of the year, when it moved from like 30s to 70K, you saw a lot of these Bitcoin L1s, L2s really pop off at that point. So I think they will have their time in the sun again. And it's kind of now about doing the research, seeing which ones of these are going to be serious contenders, as the addressable market for these is phenomenal. When you think about like ETH chains, the TVL they can attract is obviously capped by how big of a market is Ethereum overall. How much ETH can you pull onto your chain as an example? Well, on Bitcoin, we know it's over $1 trillion asset class in itself. So the TVL that could be attracted from BTC, it's a big old market to tap into. So this is an area definitely looking forward to, and there'll be a report coming out on Core shortly. So do subscribe to myself and BLOCMATES for that. And further to this, DeFi as well. So been positioning into DeFi protocols, as I do think there is going to be DeFi season as the kind of next season. We've already had a meme season. What is coming next? Potentially DeFi here. And the charge could be led by the fact we're seeing some big gains over the last week or so. Aave and their fee switch likely to occur by towards the end of this year, where Aave's revenues could be used to buy back Aave tokens and distribute to stakers. And this will set off a chain of events of one of the OG primitives in DeFi, the kind of DeFi dinos, actually has a reason to hold and stake it for revenue share. I think the estimates are around a 3 to 4% yield on that. So if OG DeFi starts to yield, that's a big catalyst. And we also have Uniswap v4 coming out as well. And this was a really good post that I won't go into too much detail about, but TLDR, this person says, I think Uniswap v4 is still underlooked and underappreciated. I believe Uni v4 could potentially bring about a wave of experiments and Ponzi's to ETH and EVM chains and create its own pump.fun moment. So this again would be seriously interesting. And if we just look at ETH Sol here, potentially what you could see here is a turn in the tide and more favorable conditions come for Ethereum. And it kind of seems that it would make sense that could happen because we've had major extremes. Everything's been Sol so far. ETH's been a ghost town. But if there are catalysts on the horizon, potentially you're going to get a bit of a clawback on that front. So I think DeFi for me looks super interesting at this point. So we'll leave things off there. We want to see Bitcoin close above 60K tonight. Hope you enjoyed this one. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the meal deal down below. Peace.